This is BePresent, the hot new focus app, and it does three things in our sign up flow that I think every single product should do. B2B, B2C, doesn't matter. Okay, the first is very clear, which is increase my motivation. It basically tells me in the very beginning how great they are and how great other people think they are. By the way, this got me in with an Instagram ad. So they increased my motivation pretty far. They got me to click, and now they have to keep it going because the sales process does not end at onboarding. The GLP-1 teardown I did describes this phenomenon as well, where the GLP-1 sign up flow just continues to ask me how much weight I want to lose. They're increasing my motivation with every single step. And then the second thing they do well is make it rapid fire. So they're asking me very easy questions. It feels fast to go through this. And there's usually one button on each page and a very, very skimmable block of text. So I would guess that their reading level is like third grade. If you were to do reading levels for your app, it probably is going to come out like grade 13. Like you want grade 3. Okay. So they've increased my motivation. They're asking me questions that kind of like rapid fire my getting through this. Then, 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 then I have a 7-day free trial. And obviously I have to give them my credit card to do this. And they just kind of keep telling me like, look, it's okay. You can cancel. I talked to somebody at Amazon, and they said that one of the biggest things that Amazon did was say for their Prime membership, you can cancel at any time. And so if you go to Amazon right now and try to sign up for Prime, they still have that big like cancel anytime. So reminding people that they're not locked in, that they can cancel is very important. And most mobile apps do that today. But in general, if you're building anything, give people an out, tell them that their decision does not lock them in forever. By the way, this is also kind of cool because they're not actually asking for a subscription here. Oh, actually they are. They are asking for a yearly subscription. My dream feature is that people just charge you once. They're like, we're going to charge you a high amount, but we're not going to charge you subscription. And I think that would actually drive a fair amount of uptake because you don't have to worry about the like, oh my gosh, next year I'm going to forget to cancel sort of thing. Okay. So now they've gotten me through. They've increased my motivation. They've made it rapid fire to get me going. And now they're going to basically get me to do things. And this is the third thing that any onboarding should do is ask me real questions that are effectively settings. The product that does this really well, definitively well, is Apple. So basically, if you have the Apple Watch, you're asked to set up the rings. And in the very beginning, you probably didn't know what rings was, but they're saying set your rings. Do you want 7K steps, 8K steps, 10K steps? I think they gave you 3 levels and you could pick. So they're teaching you about the rings and saying when they get filled, it has to be 10K steps. And you're actually making a real decision. And this is kind of the key thing because a lot of times when people tell you something, you don't remember it. So in a lecture, you may not remember something, but if you're actually the teacher calls on you and you have to answer a question, you're likely going to remember that moment and remember that information. It's really how memory works. That's actually, by the way, why testing works so well, is that if you are going to test something, you're thinking to yourself the answer, and then you'll remember the answer. So this is how onboarding should work, is you should ask me a question and get me to engage in a real thing that will actually change my settings. And so they had me set my screen time goal. They had me set my daily screen time goal. And then they had me pick my most distracting app. And I think from a macro perspective in behavioral science, this is the biggest intervention that they've gotten right in their app, which is I said, Instagram is my biggest distraction. And now they've kind of blurted out. I don't know exactly how they do this, but like I can't search for Instagram. I have to, if I want Instagram, I actually have to go find it on my app screen. So it's like slight friction that has decreased my, and by the way, we such have the tendency to like search for a thing or find a thing. And if you can disrupt that like habitual motion and cause me to pause and think, I think that's the biggest intervention that they're doing. Now they're doing other things, right? They're basically saying like, look, okay, you can open Instagram for, and then you set this implementation intention, and implementation intentions in behavioral science is basically like, one of the more surefire ways you can drive incremental changes. It's not going to revolutionize somebody's habits, but it's going to get you a little bit of the way to driving incremental better behavior. So I'm going to open Instagram. Actually, 10 is a lot, no more than 5 times a day for 5 minutes each time. And I've set that intention. And then each time I open it, they pop up a screen and says, this is number 1 or this is number 2. So they're reminding me of my own intention. They're not saying you shouldn't open Instagram. They're reminding me of the intention that I set. Back in the day, a friend was a product manager at Jawbone, and they basically had you set the time that you would go to bed. So if you wanted to go to bed at 9, you would set that in the morning. And then at 8, they would say, you said you wanted to go to bed at 9. And this did drive more people going to bed earlier. So that's the third one, is basically you are getting, by the way, they're just continuing to like ask me real questions that teach me about the app, but actually get me to do something. It's so good. Okay. So those are the 3 things. You have to increase my motivation. You're still selling and onboarding. Make it really fast and fun to go through. So basically push me through, build my momentum by making it just like boom, 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 big buttons. This font is big. And then third is ask me real things. Get me to learn about the product through the settings. By the way, this is also like the kicker, the bonus, the cherry on top here is that these settings actually drive my long-term behavior. They drive a behavior that's tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. If you just do a setting and it doesn't actually drive me back to the app, then tomorrow you have to nag me to come back to the app or do something, right? These are actual settings that will drive my future behavior. Every time that I open Instagram, it will pop up something before it and says, by the way, you said. So by doing that, I'm engaging with BePresent, right? I am coming back to the app because I did one thing in the onboarding. So they're locking in my future engagement. Okay, so those are the 3 things that every app should be doing in onboarding.